What you're seeing today is Zoe Hoker creating more career opportunities for himself as a welder, and the time he invested in virtual training through Forge FX to make it happen. Addressing the shortage of skilled workers in today's industries by providing access to additional training and career growth. These are the ways skilled trade professionals at Tulsa Welding School are using the metaverse today.
Closed captioning brought to you by Mesobook.com.
We only represent mesothelioma victims and their families. Call for a free book.
Call 800-282-4444 or go to Mesobook.com.
We're back with another major story we're following tonight. It has been 22 days since 8 Republicans conspired to oust then Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and weeks of dysfunction followed. Weeks where Republican lawmakers were unable to come to a consensus of who should replace him. And the House of Representatives, for the first time in American history, had no speaker, and the legislative branch was not functional. Today, finally, House Republicans came together and, like adults, managed to coalesce around a candidate. They picked Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana as their new speaker. CNN's Manu Raju joins me now from Capitol Hill. Manu, Speaker Mike Johnson, he's known as a big Trump supporter. He was one of the fervent voices pushing to overturn the 2020 election results in states that Biden won. He's one of the most conservative members of the House. Are swing district Republicans worried at all about any blowback for supporting him?
Well, that's a great question, Jake. In fact, I put that question to a number of these members. There are 18 Republicans from districts that Joe Biden carried in 2020. And the question for them is how Speaker Johnson will deal with them in their conference. Those 18 members all voted for Speaker Johnson today on the House floor, and even as he has taken positions that are much further to the right on issues like gay marriage, which he opposes, issues such as abortion, calling for much stricter limits on abortion, bans that some of these members simply do not support, and also in 2020 drafting a brief supporting a Texas lawsuit seeking to invalidate electoral results showing that Joe Biden was victorious across several swing states. Mike Johnson led the charge on that effort in the House. I put that question to several New York Republicans, people who are supporting him, people who are central to this narrow Republican majority and could see their seats flip in the next elections, given how their districts are swing districts. They downplayed his past positions and simply said they want to look forward. Listen. Does that concern you?
I'm going to judge Speaker Mike Johnson by the way in which he engages with members like me. This is the present. Today's 2023. Whatever happened in the past. Again, that was a vote that he took. It was
more than a vote. He drafted a brief.
But those are questions that he has to answer.
Right.
I didn't draft it. I'm not supporting it. And again, he remains, even as Speaker of the House, he remains one vote.
But if the overall premise is that you don't have faith in the results, let's be fair about it. And there's a whole bunch of Democrats who did that very same thing in 2016.
Now, last Congressman Lalotta trying to equate Democrats questioning Donald Trump's victory in 2016 to the efforts to overturn the electoral results in 2020. It's two separate matters, but nevertheless something that he plans to argue. The larger point here, Jake, is that these members are giving him room, Speaker Johnson room, after weeks of infighting, weeks of battling. They simply want to move on with the legislative process, and they said his past views are his past views. Now it's time to unite his Republican Party and deal with the pressing issues that they have been unable to deal with given the state of paralysis amid the GOP infighting. Jake.
All right, Manu Raju, thanks so much. Let's bring in CNN's political director, David Chalian, as well as former Republican representative from Michigan, Fred Upton. Congressman, let me start with you. Why do you think Speaker Mike Johnson had the magic touch here?
Well, we'll see. I mean, the Speaker nightmare is now over, that's for sure, but now he's got to deal with the nightmare in the rest of the world. And I think that's what's going to determine his success or not. Now, you know, as you talk to particularly moderates, those members who were those Republican members that were elected in districts that went for Joe Biden, they're going to be at the table. The door's not going to be locked. They're going to be at the table. They're going to be weighing in. Already, right now, as we talk, the House is passing a resolution to condemn the attack that Hamas did a couple weeks ago. It's passing overwhelmingly in the House. But you got Ukraine, you got the Israeli aid package that the president sent up. Obviously, you have the CR in a couple of weeks. Those are going to be the issues that really determine the success or failure of Speaker Mike Johnson.
So, David, one of the things that's interesting is Jim Jordan and his role in the efforts to overturn the election was a big reason why people did not want him, a small number of people, but people, Republican congressmen, did not want him to be Speaker. Specifically, Congressman Ken Buck, who said that was really key to his vote, that Jim Jordan would not say that Joe Biden was elected president. But Mike Johnson, Speaker Johnson, was also a big part of the effort to decertify the 2020 election results. He drafted an amicus brief in support of that crazy Texas Attorney General lawsuit. He hasn't said that Joe Biden won fair and square. Ken Buck voted for him. Why did Jim Jordan not get the pass that Mike Johnson got?
Well, perhaps Ken Buck had a beef with Jim Jordan or doesn't like the persona of Jim Jordan as the face of the Republican Party. Ken Buck will have to answer that, but you are right to note Mike Johnson's role in drafting that brief, in whipping up votes for Republicans to get onto that brief and reporting back to the Trump White House about who's on board with it and who wasn't. And as you noted, that Texas case was not even taken up by the Supreme Court. They just dismissed it as it didn't have standing. And this is something that Congressman Aguilar, the Democrat, the number 3 Democrat in the House leadership, number 2 Democrat in the House leadership, mentioned in his speech, Jake. And listen to how a Republican Congresswoman responded on the House floor.
House Republicans have put their names behind someone who has been called the most important architect of the Electoral College objections. He's spearheaded. That's fair. We know how you feel. Yeah, you made that clear.
Damn right is what a Republican member shouted back to Aguilar. This was a credential of Mike Johnson's that he successfully sold to the Republican conference, while it was a discrediting factor for somebody like Tom Emmer, who couldn't get out of the gate.
Yeah, that was Congresswoman Luna from Florida, I believe. And Congressman Upton, this is 2/3 of the House Republicans voted to disenfranchise Arizonans and Pennsylvanians based on these election lies. So it's not a surprise that the new Speaker of the House is also an election liar, I suppose. I mean, Emmer was the outlier. It was going to be an election liar, whether it was McCarthy or Scalise or Jordan or Johnson. I guess this is just what your party is now.
Well, it is dominated by those folks, and of course, Trump was behind this. I mean, Emmer won a majority in the caucus. I voted with Emmer, by the way, on that same issue when I was, of course, retired earlier this year. But Trump was somewhat neutral, and then when Emmer won the nomination in the conference a day or so ago, he then came out against him, and he actually torpedoed his chances. And if you look at some of the press reports, you'll see that even Matt Gaetz today is doing a victory lap. It's almost like they concocted this scheme to get rid of Gaetz' arch enemy, Kevin McCarthy, and tried to figure out a way how to get Mike Johnson in. And as we all know, there really is not more of a conservative in the House than Mike Johnson today. But he's got the gavel, and we'll see how he rules. He's got to deal with a Senate that requires 60 votes to get anything done. And you got the clock ticking on all these issues: Ukraine, Israel, the CR, the Farm Bill, the FAA reauthorization bill. The list is long. They were supposed to be in recess next week. They're not going to be, nor should they be. They need to work.
Yeah. All right, Congressman Upton, David Chalian, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Up next, live here from Tel Aviv, new comments today from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on his country's timeline on a potential ground invasion into Gaza. We'll be right back.
Czech Republic.
The new CNN Prime Time is where the truth shines. The day's biggest stories. The night's most essential reporting. This is the new CNN Prime Time. Weeknights starting at 7 on CNN.
The Chase Ink Business Premier Card is made for Sam, who makes
everyday products designed smarter.
Genius! Like 2.5% cash back on purchases of $5,000 or more. So Sam can make smart ideas
A brilliant reality.
Chase for business. Make more of what's yours.
If there's pain when you try to prove and going sometimes feels like you push through a pineapple or two. Colas is the brand you need to soften stools, we're all agreed. Number 2 should be easy to do.
Trust Colas to soften stools with no stimulants for comfortable relief.
Denture wearers can go wild with wildly adhesive C-Bond denture seals. Get strong all day hold thanks to gradual release technology. Go wild. C-Bond. Wildly adhesive.
Now, ADT professionally installs Google Nest products.
Cool. You all set?
So your home is safe and smart.
I'm gonna miss you.
You can check in on your home,
Arm the system. We should go.
manage your system from virtually anywhere, and get intelligent alerts like when a package has arrived. When the most trusted name in home security adds the intelligence of Google, you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT.
When I started Bright Star Care, I had one focus: to provide a higher standard of care. Safe, reliable, nurse-led care right in people's homes. That's been my goal for 20 years, and it always will be. Now, local agencies are looking for experienced nurses and caregivers who have the passion it takes to deliver that higher standard of care.
There comes a time when you realize the kitchen you used to love is ready for a refresh. Let a Cabinets to Go design expert help you craft the look you want with quality products in today's designer styles and colors, backed by a transferable lifetime warranty. Out with the old, in with the new. It's that easy. From design to install, we do it all. Plus, get 0% APR for a limited time. Visit cabinetstogo.com to schedule your free design consultation today. Cabinets to Go. Wow for less. To give your teeth a dentist clean feeling, start with a round brush head, add power, and you've got Oral-B. Round cleans better by surrounding each tooth to remove 100% more plaque for a superior clean. Oral-B, brush like a pro.
Viruses and bacteria float all around us. Unlike air fresheners, only new Lysol Air Sanitizer kills 99.9% of viruses and bacteria in the air. Because scent can't sanitize, Lysol can.
The hero of the firm returns in John Grisham's stunning sequel, The Exchange. This fast-paced international thriller might be Grisham's best yet. The Exchange, After the Firm, is in stores now.
You may not consider the flu to be a serious illness, but it can lead to severe complications, hospitalization, and even death. The Canadian Lung Association reminds you that getting your annual flu shot is the best defense against the flu. The flu shot is recommended for everyone over 6 months of age. It's especially important to get vaccinated if you or a family member is living with chronic lung disease. If you have any questions about flu or the flu vaccine, speak to your pharmacist, family doctor, or nurse practitioner.
Custom Ink helps us motivate our students with custom gear. We love how Custom Ink takes care of everything we need so we can focus on the kids.
Custom Ink has hundreds of products to help you feel connected. Upload your logo or start your design today at customink.com.
When Lila was ready to sell her ring, she sent it to Worthy, where they took care of everything and auctioned it on her terms. Then, Worthy sent Lila her money. You're worthy of more. Get started at worthy.com.
I'm Natasha Chen in Los Angeles, and this is CNN.
We're back with our World Lead, live from Tel Aviv. The growing humanitarian crisis in Gaza at an inflection point. If no fuel is allowed to be delivered into Gaza, the biggest humanitarian operation inside Gaza's borders, we're told, will shut down. The United Nations Relief and Works Agency today warning that it is the only lifeline for Palestinian refugees, and hundreds of American citizens are also still trapped inside Gaza, unable to leave, as Hamas is stopping people from even approaching Egypt's border crossing. the ongoing Israeli bombardment of Hamas targets in Gaza, retaliation for the Hamas terrorist attack and mass murder and kidnapping of Israeli and other civilians. CNN's Nick Robertson is in Sderot, Israel. Nick, I'll get back to the fuel issue in just a moment, but first, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu spoke this evening, just a few hours ago, saying that a ground incursion into Gaza is coming, but he still left the timing, at least publicly, up in the air.
He did, and it's hard to get a sense on the ground from the troops who are close to the front line precisely when it's going to come, other than they say that they're ready. What we hear and what we've been seeing this evening seems to indicate that the tempo around the front is heating up. We've seen, for example, more tank fire, these horizontal big red tracers you're seeing perhaps on the video there firing across the screen. We've seen a little bit of that. We're seeing a lot more of it tonight. We're hearing a lot of heavy detonations and a lot of artillery being fired into Gaza. We were close to Gaza today when there was a big strike on Gaza City, saw the smoke rising. And what the Prime Minister has indicated is that these air operations, the artillery and missile strikes, that the ground incursion will simply be a continuation of that. Everyone here is expecting it. People we speak to in this town around here say, we need it to happen. We're not going to feel safe until it happens. The Prime Minister has the support of the people. How can they live close to the border, they say, unless this security issue is dealt with? The groundwork is being laid, and as you say, we don't know when, but I think we know it is going to happen.
Netanyahu has the support of the people when it comes to a ground incursion on that issue. I don't know about the political issue, Netanyahu's support. The Israeli military has gone back and forth publicly on whether or not it's going to allow fuel into Gaza. Where does this thing stand right now?
Yeah, and I think to your point about Netanyahu's political standing, a lot of those who want to see that incursion also tell us they want to see, they're happy for Netanyahu to step down and get out of the way after all of this. They're not necessarily fans of his. And interestingly, today, for the first time, he actually said, yes, everyone will be asked questions about the security failure around October the 7th. That's the first time he's come out publicly and said, even me, I will face questions about it as well. That's a sort of change in narrative on the fuel. No change in narrative from the IDF there. They are still saying no fuel into Gaza because any fuel we put in, Hamas will use it for their military advantage, and to the point of saying, look, Hamas has all the fuel it needs. It's been stockpiling it. We've been watching it go in, and we know that they have it already. So this is a real toe-to-toe point of contention about the fuel, and the IDF is not budging on it. Jake?
So no fuel in Gaza to these humanitarian groups. That could obviously be devastating. What would it look like?
It would look like the healthcare facilities not functioning. It would look like there not being oxygen. It would look like there not being light available inside the hospitals for surgeons to do their work. And of course, they're working deep inside the hospitals because they're afraid of incoming missiles. So they work in places that need electrical light. Electricity drives the water desalination plant. That's one of the only areas where there's a limited amount of water becoming available for the citizens. So it means that there would be a desperately exacerbated humanitarian situation for those 2.2 million people, short of water, short of light, short of medical facilities, and for many of them, their hopes of seeing a better day, that dwindles too, because it will feel very tough for them.
All right, Nick Robertson, thank you so much. Coming up, we're going to go to Capitol Hill and talk to a senator about the conflict playing out in the Middle East after he just returned from a trip here to Israel. Stay with us.
It's about Dame time for the Bucks to start their season against the Sixers. Then the Suns and Lakers rivalry picks up in Hollywood. 76ers Bucks, Suns, Lakers. Coverage begins tomorrow at 7 p.m. Presented by Kia on TNT.
We've got questions about Medicare plans.
Well, we've got a lot of answers. How can I help?
Well, for starters, do you have a Medicare plan I can actually afford?
How about a plan with a $0 monthly premium?
Well, that's a great start. What other benefits can we get?
Things like dental, vision, and hearing. But let me help you pick the plan that's right for you.
Don't wait. Call 1-888-65-Aetna to get answers to your questions and pick a plan that's right for you. And let's make healthier happen together.
The Medicare Advantage and Prescription Drug Plan annual enrollment period is now open.
Every year I have to listen to all these commercials.
We're sorry, Karen, and we know it's annoying, but we want to make sure everyone on Medicare knows it's time to check and see if they can enroll in a plan that will save money or include additional benefits.
I just want these commercials to stop.
Honestly, Karen, we do too. But this is the only time of year when everyone on Medicare can call and see if there are plans with additional benefits available in their area.
I already have a Medicare Advantage plan, so these commercials aren't even for me.
Well, Karen, plans may change every year, and the 2024 Medicare Advantage plans are now available. The phone lines are open. Just call 800-331-5378 now. The Medicare annual enrollment period is the only time of year when all Medicare recipients can call and enroll in a new Medicare Advantage plan. This is also the time to call if you want to change plans. This enrollment period is only open for a limited number of weeks.
Do I have to call now for 2024?
2024 plans are available now during the annual enrollment period. Our licensed insurance agents are standing by to take your call. Call now and get a free benefits review with no obligation to enroll. Just call 800-331-5378 now.
So, I can call and not sign up for a plan?
That's right. We just want to make sure everyone on Medicare gets information about plans with the coverage they want in 2024. You can call to check and see what plans with additional benefits may be available in your area.
I need to get that number one more time.
The number again is 800-331-5378.
Is the call free too?
Yes, the call and benefits review are free with zero obligation to enroll. Call now. Just call 800-331-5378 now. That's 800-331-5378.
New projects means new project managers. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/hire and get started today.
We planned well for retirement, but I wish we had more cash.
You think those two have any idea that they can sell their life insurance policy for cash, so they're basically sitting on a gold mine? I don't think they have a clue. That's crazy. Well, not everyone knows Coventry has helped thousands of people sell their policies for cash, even term policies. I can't believe they're just sitting up there, sitting on all this cash.
If you own a life insurance policy of $100,000 or more, you can sell all or part of it to Coventry, even a term policy, for cash or a combination of cash and coverage with no future premiums.
Someone needs to tell them that they're sitting on a gold mine and you have no idea. Hey guys, you're sitting on a gold mine. Come on,
Do you hear that?
I don't hear anything anymore.
Find out if you're sitting on a gold mine. Call Coventry Direct today at 800-392-7600 or visit CoventryDirect.com.
I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, and this is CNN.
And we're back with our World Lead. Just moments ago, the U.S. House of Representatives, with overwhelming bipartisan support, passed a resolution in support of Israel. And they can actually do that now because they finally have a speaker after 22 days without one. It is House Speaker Mike Johnson of Louisiana, who said that this resolution would be his very first order of business after Hamas attacked, murdered, and kidnapped Israeli citizens and citizens from other countries on October 7th. With us now, Republican Senator John Thune of South Dakota. He just returned from a congressional delegation trip to Israel. Senator, thank you so much for coming on the show. We appreciate it. Tell us what you saw and experienced on your trip to Israel.
Well, we hit Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Israel. In Israel, for sure, we met with families of family members who'd been taken hostage, which was a very, as you know, powerful and emotional meeting, and just reaffirmed our commitment to do everything working with our administration here in the United States, as well as with regional partners in the region, to try and get the American hostages out. We still have a number of them that are unaccounted for, and that's obviously a huge priority for those families, and certainly a huge priority for all the members of our delegation. and then of course met with the Israeli officials to find out, get an update on what's happening with regard to the conflict. And you know, the Israelis live on a razor's edge there. They have been now for the last, since Hamas took power back in the 2005 timeframe, they have been living next door to somebody whose principal mission in life is to kill Jews and to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. So this has real world consequences for them, and they view it as an existential debate as to whether or not they're going to be around as a nation and as a people.
Obviously, there are a lot of concerns about the innocent Palestinians in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis there, not only because of the airstrikes, but because of the inability of aid to get into Gaza. Would you support a temporary pause in airstrikes, if you don't want to call it a ceasefire, or just a temporary pause to allow some of the aid to get in?
I think obviously the Israelis, as much as anyone, want to make sure that innocents are protected from all this. And I think any questions about how that's done needs to be in consultation with them. If they believe that a pause makes sense, then I think I would obviously defer to their judgment on that. But I think the argument that's being made out there about a ceasefire, potential ceasefire, I think all that does is embolden and enable and strengthen Hamas. So I think the Israelis understand that there are innocent Palestinians who are victims of Hamas, just like they are in all of this, and want to do everything they can to make sure that those people are protected. And they're going to try and do that as they continue to try and eliminate Hamas, make sure that they protect innocents. But as you know, that's not easy to do because Hamas uses these civilians as human shields. And clearly they have no concern about however much human carnage gets accumulated as a result of this. So it's really, I think, the Israelis' call, and working with our regional partners, trying to make sure we do everything we can to get hostages out and make sure that innocents are protected.
We've been talking to a couple Palestinian Americans who are trapped in Gaza, and there are something like 500 to 600 Americans stuck in Gaza. It's obviously a complicated issue, but what is your understanding as to why these Americans can't get out? And do you think the Biden administration is doing enough to get them out?
Well, what we've tried to reiterate and emphasize with the administration is this needs to be job number one. Let's get Americans home, including Americans we know about as well as Americans that are unaccounted for. That ought to be their principal objective in all this. And I think we have been. There have been discussions with those in the area who can help as partners in making that happen, and I hope we see some progress there. But at the end of the day, that's, at least from our standpoint here in the States, we want to do everything we can to get Americans who are affected by this in Gaza back home safely, and we should be working with whomever. And I think again there are some folks who have some influence in all this in the region to make that happen.
It looks like after almost 3 weeks of whatever it was, your colleagues in the House finally have themselves a Speaker-elect, Congressman Mike Johnson of Louisiana. In his comments, he has talked about aid to Israel, not so much about aid to Ukraine. Are you concerned about that? Will there be congressional aid to Ukraine in the future?
Well, my expectation is that there will. And again, I don't know exactly how it all comes together at this point. We have our own process in the Senate. The House, as you point out, has a new speaker, which we're grateful for, and hopefully they can get up and functioning again and deal with the issue of providing aid for Israel. And we'll see about, obviously, where the votes are on Ukraine, but I certainly expect that there will be a big vote in the end in the House and the Senate for a package that supports America's national security objectives, which in my view include supporting and defending Israel, their right to defend themselves, and then also making sure that we stop Russia's aggression in Ukraine.
Speaker-elect Johnson not only voted against counting the electoral votes from Arizona and Pennsylvania based on that wild election lies from Trump and company, he's one of the guys that helped organize that crazy election lawsuit from Texas. The Attorney General there got all the signatures, went to the U.S. Supreme Court. They didn't even take a look at it because it was so full of nonsense. Does that concern you at all?
Well, he's now the Speaker of the House, and so he has a huge responsibility in discharging and executing the Speaker's responsibilities and duties under the Constitution. So, I have my own views, and I think you know well what those are with regard to the last election. But as we look forward, it's really important now that we try and execute on an agenda, not only that addresses what are vital national security interests of the United States, including what's happening abroad and what's happening at our southern border, but also just the basic functions and duties of funding the government. There's a lot of work to do, and I'm all for let's move forward, let's address the challenges this country faces in the future, and whatever has happened in the past, it's at this point, at least in my view, as the Speaker of the House, his responsibility is to govern this country for the future.
Senator John Boone of the great state of South Dakota, thanks so much for joining us, sir.
Thanks, Jake.
Coming up, my visit today with a father who tried to hide from Hamas in a safe room, the tragedy that he learned about when he got out.
Our mission here at CNN is that the news comes first. That's the promise of the Situation Room. We work as hard as we can to get the facts.
The Situation Room with Wolf Blitzer, next on CNN.
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now. I have an annuity, but I need cash now. Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
It's your money. Use it when you need it.
Call J.G. Wentworth, 877 cash now.
Hi, it's Christina again. I'm here to tell you about an all-new special offer from my friends at Jacuzzi Bath Remodel that you don't want to miss. You already know, Jacuzzi has been making water feel great for more than 65 years. And now, they're bringing you this special TV offer. We're waiving all installation costs and postponing all payments for 1 year. Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has a design you'll love at a price you can afford. And, best of all, they can install it in as little as 1 day with no stress and no mess. Are you ready to see your new shower? Here it is.
It's fabulous! Taking a shower has gone from being a joy to being a burden. I was afraid I would fall. I called, and just 1 day, I had a shower I could feel safe in.
No matter your situation, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has a solution for you. From a safer, easy entry shower with features like grab bars and a custom seat to keep you feeling comfortable and independent at home, to a stunning family bath, or how about a luxurious upgrade with a timeless design that will look great for years to come. Plus, they're built to last with a lifetime warranty from an iconic brand you know you can trust.
It was done the same day. We did not have to wait.
It's absolutely perfect. It's exactly what I was dreaming of.
If you haven't already experienced what Jacuzzi Bath Remodel can do for you, your family, and your home, don't wait any longer. Now is the best time to call. It's never been easier. Take advantage of this special TV offer today.
Go to jacuzzibathremodel.com or call 800-321-0299. That's 800-321-0299. Call now.
I am Tony Hawk, and like many of you, I take a statin to reduce cholesterol. But statins can also deplete CoQ10 levels. That's why my doctor recommended Qunol CoQ10. Qunol has the #1 cardiologist recommended form of CoQ10. Qunol, the brand I trust.
You want to see a trick?
Sure.
I can make anything you want appear on that TV.
Superheroes.
Superheroes.
Well, cute animals.
Cute animals.
Wizards.
Wizards. Would you like my trick?
I saw the remote.
With you, keeping the whole family entertained. Search endless content with the magical Ignite TV voice remote. Rogers, with you all the way.
Join me on my perfect feel-good vacation adventure in Penticton, BC. Well, that might leave a mark. And I did it all fuel free. Almost. Wow, this is gorgeous.
This is CNN, the world's news network.
We're back in Tel Aviv with our coverage of the war on Hamas in Gaza and the terrorist attack on October 7th that started it all. And I'm going to tell you a story now of almost unimaginable cruelty. Hamas killing a mother in front of her 3-year-old son. This is a story we've heard time and time again since the October 7th Hamas attack, even as these very same terrorists tried to use the very same boy for propaganda purposes to show their alleged compassion.
Endless lemons, and here there's more. Millions of fruits and vegetables without end.
Her name was Adi Kaplun. She and her husband Anani moved to Kibbutz Holit near Gaza to build a life together.
This is our bedroom, and the bed was built by my husband.
Adi gave a tour to an Israeli news station a few years ago.
I study Judaism, and it helps to calm me, and some of the lessons are practical. We know this language, but we speak in a different dialect.
On the morning of October 7th, Anani was out on a sunrise hike with friends, while Adi was home with their 3-year-old son Negev and 6-month-old son Eshel. Her dad, Yaron, was visiting the kibbutz, staying in the guest house across the street. And then, Hamas attacked.
All the shooting started at 6:30 in the morning. I immediately called her to ask if I can come be with her. She said, absolutely not. No way, definitely not. She said, Dad, stay in the apartment. Don't come out and close yourself in the safe room. Of course, I listened to her.
Hamas terrorists arrived on motorcycle and foot, killing innocent civilians and migrant workers. Yaron closed himself off in a safe room, as did Adi, hiding with her sons in her house's safe room.
We hear shooting, then quiet. Another house. Shooting, then quiet. At 12:30, Adi sends me a text message. Dad, lock the door strongly. We guess that according to what happened afterward, that was when they came into her house. There was shooting, there was lots of shooting noises, very loud, very close to me. I tried to call her. She didn't answer. After a few times, the phone was disconnected. I already had a bad feeling.
Yoram had no way of knowing Hamas terrorists had dragged his grandsons, Negev and Eshel, to another house, where Hamas terrorists then fired into a shelter and killed Chaim Katzman, and then dragged out Avital Alajan.
They took me to the living room, and then came more terrorists with the children of my friend Adi, she is still missing. They gave me Eshel, he is 4.5 months old, and Negev, who is almost 4 years old, both traumatized, and they just gave them to me.
Avital, Negev, and Eshel were then kidnapped and dragged at gunpoint to Gaza as hostages. Hamas then even used images of Negev in propaganda to show how compassionate they were. Propaganda that appeared in Arabic media that we will not show you. The reality, of course, was far different.
They were traumatized, they were shocked. Negev had a bullet that crossed his foot, and Eshel, the baby, he was breathing so much gunfire, and his lungs were absorbing so much. Both of them were traumatized, and they were just quiet. They kept, gazing at the terrorist with terrified eyes. Negev, the 4-year-old, he was wounded, so he couldn't walk. He was crawling. He was crying. It was a traumatized experience.
Miraculously, Avital managed to escape with the boys, and they were able to reunite with their father. Yaron was rescued from his safe room by Israeli soldiers. They searched Adi's house. They found nothing, and no one.
The entire house was filled with so many bullets. Bullets from a firearm. The door of the safe room. The door looked awful. It was full of holes, full of bullet holes, dozens of bullets.
Then the mystery. Where was Adi? Where was she?
We don't know. She's missing.
Days passed.
I mean, I couldn't even touch my shoulders. I was so tense.
And then the grim answer came. Adi had been murdered. Her body was booby-trapped. It had been hidden in her house. It had been there the whole time.
It turned out afterward that because I didn't move anything, everything was booby-trapped with grenades, and only after 3 days, it turned out that Adi was underneath all the mess under the bed. They shot her. They shot her really cruelly. They really murdered her. All the bullets that were in the door, her body absorbed some of them.
It's a terrible ending, but there was an end. And every day it's worse. It gets worse. There's more hostages. There's more. Yeah, it's terrible. Just the 3 days waiting, not knowing. I can't imagine the people who were 17 days and now waiting and don't know. I can't imagine.
The grandsons thankfully were alive. But how is Negev today? What had he seen? His foot is now healing, but what of his heart? What of his soul?
I know that he was told right from the start that his mother was not coming back. I don't know how he's processing it.
What was the purpose of killing Adi Kaplan? What does it achieve to kill her in front of her baby boys? For now, all that Jackie and Yaroon can do is grieve the loss of their beloved daughter and hug their grandsons.
I came first to the hospital. Negev was eating supper at that time. And he told me, Saba, come sit beside me. I'm eating supper and I want you to sit beside me.
I was just so glad to see that he was running around, and that Ashel has the most beautiful smile. And I got to hold him.
Anani Kaplan, Anani, the widower, he now has to decide whether to move back to the kibbutz, whether to move back to the home where his wife was slaughtered in front of his sons. The kinds of decisions no one should ever have to make. We'll be right back. When you get approved with Drive Time, you get the real deal. It's the Drive Time Real Deal Maker.
I can't, I'm too excited.
It lets you customize the real down payment and monthly payment of the car you want to buy.
That's super smart. I make the deal myself?
It's your car. You should make the deal you want.
And the deal you make on your phone is the deal you pay. It's that simple.
You make the deal yourself.
Then just go to the dealership for a haggle-free purchase because you already made the deal yourself. Woo! Get the real deal at drivetime.com.
Sad, sad story. Murdering a mother in front of her boys. A song by Paul Beckman, Paul the Rainbow Song. Also the new and first leader of humankind in the free world. Sad, sad story, sad, sad story, sad, sad story, sad, sad story, oh, it makes my heart break just to hear about it, makes my heart break just to think about it, makes my heart think and feel so much compassion for those boys. Their mother murdered right in front of them in their presence so they could see. fighters, yeah, brainwashed Hamas fighters who know no decency. Brainwashed fighters, Hamas fighters, you see. Cruel and debased to the point of no longer being human. Depravity of the lofty vision of what it's like to be human. Evolving on a better path. Well, they said goodbye to that once they got brainwashed, yeah. Cruelty and the debasement of the human condition to murder a boy's mother in front of him, to murder the boy's mother in front of them, to kill her until she was dead. Oh, boys now, I'm so sorry you had to see Hamas terrorists killing your mother. Oh, no, killing your mother. No, killing your mother. Don't kill our mommy. Don't kill our mommy. Don't. Oh, I'm so sorry. My heart fills with compassion for you, as well as for the parents of her, the parents of the slain mother. Bad Hamas, bad Hamas, bad Hamas, bad Hamas, bad Hamas, bad Hamas. Whoa, yeah, I'm with Israel. Whoa, yeah, I'm with America. Whoa, yeah, I'm with the same sentiments. Get rid of Hamas. The fact that they would murder a mother of two little boys right in front of them and pump her full of bullets. No joy. Oh, I'm sure she gave so much love to her children that she loved with all her heart. I'm so sorry. I apologize to the human race, and in part for the bestial sins of Hamas fighters. Whoa, yeah, those depraved individuals and what they stand for, and the group that they're part of. May there be justice, oh, may there be justice, yeah man. May there be justice in any way, on any level, kingdom come. Well, I'm sure the true self in those deprived individuals will make sure that they learn their lessons as they incarnate through life. That will be the end of them. Yeah, we must all learn that in truth we are divine. We owe it to ourselves and our higher purpose to find that divine mind. But some seem to stray on the path today, like those Hamas fighters. Bad association, guys. Never should have associated with them in any way. I'm so sorry, boys, that your mother was taken from you. So sorry, it disturbs me. Well, at least we got to hear about it and see it, and now the story is told. Oh, boys, I hope you can put this past you one day and grow up and be fine individuals, self and planetary healers, a boon to the human civilization. At this point, at this hour, so sorry am I that you had to go through what you saw and what you experienced. Just know your mother will always love you. Just know your mother will always love you. Just know that your mother will always be loving you. Just know that your mother will always be loving you.
Yeah, this all happened within an hour, Wolf. So it was a very tense situation in that courtroom within that hour. So this was happening, the cross-examination of Michael Cohen. Essentially, it was all in relation to a 2019 congressional hearing where Cohen testified that Trump, or he didn't recall Trump telling him to basically manipulate the financial statements, to reflect the net worth that Trump wanted. Well, that was brought up yesterday, or rather when he was being directed by the state's attorneys, where he essentially laid out how he would manipulate those numbers, and Trump wanted him to. Well, in cross-examination, they brought back up that 2019 testimony and asked, essentially, did you lie? Were you lying to Congress? And he stood, Michael Cohen, by his testimony in 2019. Well, for Trump's camp, they think this is a big lie. He's flip-flopping his statements. And they asked the judge to basically throw out this trial because this is at the heart of why this civil trial is happening. Well, the judge said no. He said it twice, definitely no. And essentially, we will now continue to court. Michael Cohen is no longer on the stand, but they did try to get this trial thrown out just based off of Michael Cohen's testimony over the last 2 days. Well,
very interesting. Bryn Gingras, thank you very much for that report. Now to an exclusive CNN reporting on Georgia's election subversion case against Donald Trump. Our senior crime and justice reporter, Caitlin Polantz, has been working her sources for us. Caitlin, what are you learning?
Well, Wolf, as we're piecing together what's happening with all 19 defendants in Fulton County, this 2020 election case, around Donald Trump, with Donald Trump at the top of the list of defendants, Wolf, we now know that at least 6 co-defendants of Donald Trump have had plea deals put on the table before them, and we're waiting to see what they do. So right now, 19 defendants, 4 of them already took plea deals. Those 4 people all agreed to cooperate. That includes some top lawyers. And with those initial plea deals, Sidney Powell's, Jenna Ellis's, Scott Hall's, and Ken Chesbro's, the dominoes then start to fall. And so prosecutors reach out to others, these 6 others, at least 6 other co-defendants, to see if they want to take deals. Those are people like a campaign official, another pro-Trump lawyer. And so we're going to wait and see what happens with them. And when you're looking at these, the prosecutors, as they're trying to get people to plead guilty and take deals, it's good for them because it helps them focus their case against Trump. The more defendants they can pick off from going to trial, they can get these cooperators, get more information. And the defendants, you don't want to be last in line standing. You don't want to be the last one standing going to trial because you can get a deal that means no jail time. You can get a lot of benefits out of taking a plea deal if you choose to do it early. And so right now, that's where we stand in this case. But we do know from our team of reporters that there are 4 people right now who haven't been offered plea deals in this case that are on the table from Fulton County, Georgia. Those are some of the biggest names in this case: Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, and of course, Donald Trump himself. So no offers of guilty pleas for those 4 from the Georgia prosecutors at this time. Wolf?
All right, Caitlin, stay with us. We got some more questions for you. I also want to bring in our legal analyst, Norm Isaac.